If you are after the smallest, most portable practice solution, then look no further than the amPlug. But now you can get it in the legendary Aguilar tone hammer, which is pretty dang cool. And though this thing is really tiny, it does manage to pack in quite a lot of features. Across the top, you've got controls for input gain, tone, and volume. You've also got this fourth control up here, which is like a spring-loaded toggle with a push button. Pushing it left and right will control the volume of the effect, and pushing it down will cycle through the effects. They don't have them listed out in the manual. I looked in every language and it's not there, but based on what I can hear, it sounds like you've got reverb, chorus, compression, and a clean signal. Another thing that they left out of the manual is the label for the aux-in, which allows you to pipe in backing tracks from your phone or iPad or whatever. The volume of the aux input is controlled by the source, so the volume control here doesn't affect it at all, which gives you independent controls for your bass and backing tracks. If you don't have backing tracks, you do have onboard drums here. If you hold down this button, it will put you into rhythm mode. Pushing left and right will affect the volume of the drum kit, and tapping down on the button will let you cycle through the about a dozen or so drum tracks it has. On this side, we just have the output for the headphones, and on the other side, we've got two buttons. The power button, which will let you long press to turn it on or off, and then you'll get a green light here, and if you tap the button, you'll actually cycle between two different channels, one of which is a clean channel, the other one which is more like a tubey overdriven one. Both of them are supposed to sound like the tone hammer. I don't have that much experience with the tone hammer, so I can't say whether or not they sound like it. You'll hear it in the sound samples and you can decide for yourself. The other button we have here is the tap button, which will let you tap out the tempo for the drums, but it will also let you control the speed of the effects. And yes, you can use effects while the drums are going. The swiveling jack on the back will travel a full 180 degrees, and just listen to that clicking sound. Very satisfying, and it seems to be very sturdy. It'll stay put wherever you put it. Now, I was able to use this on both the front mounted jacks and the bottom mounted jacks on various basses I've tried it on. The one bummer though is that if you have it on a bottom mounted jack bass, it means that you can't really see any of this, so you're just adjusting it all by feel. Not a real big deal, but you just won't be able to see anything. Aguilar claims that you can get 11 to 17 hours of battery life from the two AAA batteries, and they do include those in the packaging, so massive points for that.
Wait a minute!
what do I think of this thing? Well, let's actually really thoroughly test this out. Well, hello there. We are here in Idaho Falls at the Colonial Theater, but we just finished up tech rehearsal for our performance tonight, Deep Love, Ghostly Rock Opera. I just needed to step outside to get a little bit of air, but a couple things from the show I want to run. In particular, I've got a solo in the second act, and I really don't want to mess it up, so I'm going to go and practice that for a little bit, and then I got to get ready, and then we should be ready for the show. So what do I think of the Aguilar amPlug tone hammer? Honestly, I think this thing has earned a permanent spot in my gig bag. This is awesome. I love having this. Having a portable, quiet headphone amp to practice with at all times is so great. And I'm fitting the little earbuds that I got for it just in a little carrying case. And this is tiny. This is just incredible, especially when you compare it to what I was using before as a headphone amp. I was using this dark glass pedal, but it requires an extra 9-volt power supply. You got to run a cable from the base to this thing. It becomes this whole thing when you put it together, and it sounds great, but it is just significantly less effort than this. You plug this into your bass, plug your headphones in, done. And it runs on batteries. And I've probably spent somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 hours on this thing, and it's still going, so I think their battery estimates are pretty good. One thing I will say about the batteries though is that AAA batteries are bullshit. It probably wouldn't take that much more to just increase the size or the cavity or something about the form factor to accommodate AA batteries, which are far more common and give you almost a third more power. I think that would be worth it for just the slight increase to the body of this thing. That's probably my one criticism of this entire unit. Look at that, it's just so close. You could just make it a little teeny tiny bit bigger, and then you could use a better battery. I think that would be super worth it to be able to use a AA instead of a AAA. But otherwise, this thing is really good. It sounds plenty good for practice. The effects are fun and keep you engaged. It has 2 channels, so you can mess around with the distortion or overdrive. You can use the input gain to drive it a little bit more. I was kind of surprised by how responsive that part of it is. It's pretty good sounding overdrive. The tone control is actually a tilt EQ, so you'll usually run it around the middle, but you can get it pretty far in either direction, so you've got lots of sounds to make. The drummer, though it is pretty simple and somewhat limited, is really useful. I found that in my sound clips when I was just messing around, I didn't make any plans before I just sat down and recorded, and found that I just wanted to play with the drummer because that's how bass is interesting to me, right? It's playing with people or with something, not by itself. So having a drummer in this tiny little thing to practice along with is a lot more engaging, it's a lot more fun, and it will help you practice your rhythm. So yeah, on the whole, I'm giving this the big thumbs up, the AMP stamp of approval. Thank you so much to Aguilar for sending this out. They're not seeing this video, they're not giving me any input on any of this stuff. They actually sent this to me and asked that I post an Instagram video about it. So this YouTube video is apparently totally optional, I guess. I just wanted to show it to you because I thought it was cool. And also tell you about my rock opera at every opportunity. Did you know that I have a rock opera? I just put out 2 albums, Act 1 and Act 2 of this rock opera. You should go listen to it because of everything that I have ever done, it's the thing I am most proud of. Some of my best bass work I've ever done is on that album, and I just think it's really good. So go check it out. And when you're done with that, you can go buy yourself an Aguilar amPlug. I challenge you to find me a more portable way to practice bass. I don't think you can. This has got to be the smallest thing out there. And if you like the portable stuff, be sure to subscribe, because next week we're going to be taking a look at some portable basses, and you're not going to want to miss that. amPlug3!